Hello, welcome to Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume. Welcome, welcome. My guest today is Kimberly Davis. Hello, Kimberly, how are you?
Hello, Louisa. Hello, everyone.
I am so excited that you are here.
I am too. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
I know, we scheduled this like 2 months ago.
I know. Well, we really need to schedule a all-nighter because I think we could talk for a very long time. But we'll start here.
I agree. Okay, listen, I'm going to read about you, and then we are going to just jump right in and talk all things kindness and brave leadership.
Sounds great.
Okay. An expert on authentic leadership, Kimberly Davis shares her inspirational message of personal power, responsibility, and impact with organizations across the country and teaches leadership programs worldwide. Most notably, her program OnStage Leadership, which runs in New York City and Dallas.
Yay!
Additionally, Kimberly teaches authentic influence and executive presence for Southern Methodist University, Cox School of Business Executive Education Program, and partners with SMU in teaching for the Bush Institute's Women's Initiative Fellowship Program, empowering female leaders from the Middle East, and for the National Hispanic Corporate Council. She's a TEDx speaker. She's an author. She's an amazing human being. Her book, Brave Leadership, Unleash Your Most Confident, Authentic, and Powerful Self to Get the Results You Need, is everywhere. So welcome, Kimberly Davis.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be with you today.
So tell me how you started OnStage Leadership.
OnStage Leadership. Well, so my path, Louisa, has been anything but a direct path. I did theater for like 20 years, and then I found my way into training and development. And so as I was in the classroom with all of these corporate leaders, I come from a theater background, so I was studying them like a detective, right? Because I thought they were fascinating. And as I was working with them, I realized that a lot of the things that were challenging for us as actors in the theater were also showing up in corporate America, and that we actually had tools in the theater to help us deal with some of those things. And so I was a hired gun for a leadership program that was doing leadership and engagement work, and I was out in the doing work for a major pharmaceutical in the Northeast, and their director of learning came up to me, and this was probably 12 years ago.
Yeah.
The director of learning came up to me, and he had heard me talk about my theater background, and then he went and Googled me, because that's what you did. And
that's what you do.
He found my old coaching website, and he came back in the next morning and he said, I've always wanted to do a leadership program based on theater tools. And I said to him, well, I've been noodling something over for years, but I haven't had an excuse to develop it. And so I got permission from the client I was working with at the time to work directly with this pharmaceutical organization, because they weren't going to touch a theater program, leadership program with a 10-foot pole. That was not their thing. And so I developed this full-day experiential program for this pharmaceutical high potential sales team. And I was terrified, Louisa, of making a total fool out of myself, because this was a really big client.
Right.
And what I was doing was very, very unusual for corporate training. And it was very experiential. And so at the time I was living in Dallas. And so I decided to put together an open enrollment program of this program I developed for these high potential leaders. And that was in February of 2008.
Oh, wow.
So I ran this open enrollment program. I called it OnStage Leadership. And it went absolutely incredibly well. And then I did it for the high potential leaders. And that's what I've been doing really for the last decade. So it has been a huge blessing. This work what he did when he saw possibility in me and came in there and said, hey, I'm interested in this. He changed my life. And he really helped me find this is what I'm put on the planet to do. And that was a gift that I will never be able to repay.
Right. So when you started this program, you were talking to these executives. How did they receive the theater training tools and like, how was it first?
You know what, Louisa, I use theater tools in the work, but it's not like I'm putting on a play with them. Right. So we're talking business all day long.
Gotcha.
And it's leadership conversations. But with the tools we're using, we're really pulled from the turn of the century. The primary tool that I use was pulled from the turn of the century. There was a theater master. He owned the Moscow Art Theater. He was a director. He was also an actor. And what he discovered was that there were some actors that had this incredible amount of presence, and they were able to draw the audience in, and the audience would leap to their feet and thunderous applause, and they loved them. And they were doing. There were these actors that were amazing, and then there were the other actors not so much. Right. And so we wanted to find out what were these incredible actors doing that was making such a difference. And so that was, over 100 years ago when he discovered that really it was all about their focus of attention. And that's what allowed them to show up powerfully and with that kind of believability that drew people to them from a presence perspective, right? And so that was Konstantin Stanislavski, at the turn of the century. And I'm just applying it in a business context because what I learned over the time that I was working with all of these corporations was that, corporate America is a pretty high stakes, vulnerable place to be, right?
Yeah.
You're always trying to prove yourself. You want people to like you. You don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to look stupid. What's your boss going to think? You want to get, all that approval and get to the next rung on the ladder and all of these things. And it's the same way in the theater, right? It's a very vulnerable, high stakes place to be. People are watching you. Yeah. They're judging you. Yeah. And so it's how do we as human beings show up in the face of those high stakes, show up in the face of vulnerability, and how do we bring our best, most authentic and powerful self to that place, right? So we can connect powerfully. And the byproduct is our results. In the theater, the byproduct's the applause, right? The byproduct is that the theater makes a lot of money and they're successful. In the business environment, the byproduct are our results.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So how do we show up authentically? How do we be vulnerable in a business sense and bring humanity back to the workplace?
Yeah, well, I really believe that our focus determines our bravery. So when you focus on what do people think of me? Am I going to look stupid? Am I going to make mistakes? All of those things. What's happening in your brain is the amygdala in your brain starts going, right? Yeah, it picks up risk. And it starts sending cortisol, the stress hormone, through your body, which gives you all those body sensations. Your hands start to sweat, your stomach starts to flutter, your breathing gets shallow, right? And it affects the way that you show up in the world. But if you instead of focusing on yourself and what people think of you and how well you're doing or how well you're not doing, right? All those things. If you instead can shift your focus off of yourself, right? And onto impact. What's the impact I want to have on the people in this situation? So here today, right, what's the impact do I want to have on you, Louisa, my amazing friend? What's the impact I want to have on all of you who are out there listening and watching this conversation, right? What's the impact I want to have? And if I can focus on that and focus on taking action to make an impact, what it does, it's the coolest thing, is it stops my amygdala from sensing risk. My amygdala is not registering that anything out of the ordinary is going on, right? And so I'm free to show up powerfully and as my best, most authentic self. So it really is, it's what I call focusing on your super objective. The impact you want to have outside yourself is what I call your super objective. Your super objective is essentially your purpose in action. What is it you stand for? What's the impact you're here to have? Right?
Oh, that is powerful. Because I think
it is, it's changed my life. It really has. I have to say, it's changed my life.
Once you tap into that, then, like, this is what you're here to do. So what are the steps do I take in order to make this happen? What kind of steps do I take?
Well, it begins with clarity, right? So it absolutely begins with clarity. It's really understanding what drives you from that internal space, what you care about most, right? Not what does your boss think you should care about, right? Or your mom think you should care about, but what's really, truly most important to you? What drives you? What gets you out of bed in the morning? Why do you care? Exactly. The question I like to ask people all the time is, you do what you do for the sake of what? Why are you doing this for real? And then when you get clarity around why you care about this, then it's, okay, who or what do you want to have an impact on most, right? For some people, it's their clients. For some people, it's their team. For some people, it's individuals. For some people, it's their community. For some people, it's the world, right? Some people are boil the ocean people. But really, what is the impact that you personally are trying to have? Who or what are you trying to impact most? And then asking yourself, what is that impact you want to have?
Yep.
And framing the impact in using active verbs, so it puts you on an active path. For me, my super objective is to connect people to the best of who they are. Right?
That's what I stand for.
That's why we're here having this conversation, right? That's why I write every day. That's why I speak. That's why I do everything I do. But it's true for all of us. We all have something that drives us, the impact that we're here to make. What is that? Is it to connect? Is it to build? Is it to create? Is it to ignite? Is it to fuel? What are you here to do? And make sure you frame it in terms of active language so it doesn't live in your head. A lot of people think purpose, and it's like this really nice, lovely thing that lives in our head but doesn't live in our actions. A super objective forces our feet to the fire, because you can say, did I do it or did I not?
Yeah.
Did I do it in this conversation? Did I do it in this presentation? Did I do it on this call? Did I do it in this meeting? Yes or no? And if you didn't do it, right, you can't say, well, I would have loved to connect Louisa to the best of who she is, but she just wasn't going to have any of it, right? I can't blame you, right? Because this is what drives me, right? So if this is truly what drives me, then the responsibility is on me to say, okay, what does Louisa need from me personally to experience me as someone who is genuine, who is worthy of trust, who is reliable, who is believable, what I call authentic, right? Genuine, worthy of trust, reliable, and believable. So the byproduct is she experiences me as authentic, and therefore, I tap into her ability to want to be a part of what I'm up to listen, I tap into the ability to have an impact, right? But the responsibility lies firmly on my shoulders. Nobody else, I can say, well, this didn't work. My boss didn't do this. This didn't happen. Okay, well, what's the impact I'm here to have? It's on me. Which is a huge, it can be overwhelming to think about that, but at the same time, you are in the driver's seat of your own life all the time. You don't have to wait for permission from anyone. You don't need a different job, a different boss, a different amount of money in your life. You just need to get yourself in the game. What's the impact you are personally here to have? What are you doing to have it? Are you having it right now? Yes or no? If not, what action can you take? That's it.
Oh, I love that. I firmly believe that we're responsible for the energy that we bring to everything. So
yeah, I totally agree.
So whatever that situation is, whatever is going on, you are only responsible for your energy. And like you just said, it doesn't matter what they're doing over there or what's being said. What are you bringing to the table? How are you responding to the situation? And then how are you going to make it better?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. With that responsibility, though, comes tremendous power, right? And I think we are all so much more powerful than we give ourselves permission to be.
I agree.
We can have an impact. We can make a difference, but we have to also bring our best self to the game. We can't just wait for somebody else to hand it to us.
Because it doesn't work that way, right? Like if somebody,
but wouldn't that be nice? That's a fantasy, though. But you know what I have to say, Louisa, it does make a tremendous difference who you surround yourself with. That's why I want to be around people like you. That's why I want to be around, other people that are lifting people up, that are doing powerful work, because it makes it easier for me to do the work that I'm here in the world when I'm fueled by positive energy, right? So yes, it's on me, but at the same time, it's on me to take responsibility for who I surround myself with. And that's why I think everybody who's watching us, that's why watch Louisa's podcast every time she gets on there. Read great work. Surround yourself with people who make you better.
Yep. And I agree, because, if there's drama in your life, if there's negativity in your life, what are you surrounding yourself with? What are you feeding your soul with? And then are you brave enough to change it? Because
right.
because
And you know, sometimes you have to love people and let them go. And it doesn't mean that you're saying, you know, I don't want to be around you anymore. You're la 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 la, whatever that is that you're going to fill in the blank with, right?
Right.
It means loving people and let them go. You know, people, I truly believe that we do the best that we can with what we have. I don't think anybody's trying to show up in the world as a horrible person, right? I really don't. I think people do the best that they can with what they know. And so for us to step away from judgment and step into responsibility, right? What is the responsibility we have to ourselves and to the impact that we want to have in the world? And what do we do to cultivate that? And part of that is surrounding ourselves with people that are healthy, people that are also working on themselves. Yeah.
Oh, you said a mouthful right there.
I see. We could talk forever about this stuff.
No, I mean, seriously, that is amazing. I love that. And you just have to do the work. You have to do the work and figure out who you want to be in this world.
Right. And you know what? I think it's something to remember is that it's not an all or nothing thing. It's not like, you know, you get it dialed in and you're done. Right.
No,
and it's also not like I have to do this whole thing before I can start. No, you can start right now. And it's a situation by situation, you know, thing. You know, what's the impact you want to have right now? Okay. Did you have it? Yes or no? No, you didn't. Okay. Well, then don't spend your life beating yourself up. What's the impact you want to have in the next situation you face? Move forward. Be compassionate with yourself and just focus on taking one mindful action at a time. Our brave is not an all or nothing thing. Our brave unfolds one situation at a time.
Oh my goodness. We need to get together and have a girls' weekend and just.
I totally agree.
Because I believe that, like, you cannot be your best self in one moment, but the very next moment you can choose to be your best self.
That's exactly right. And I think from a leadership perspective, on those moments when you're not your best self, which, you know, we all have them, it's really important to own it. Because we think that, well, I've moved on, but the people around us haven't. If we've said something that's hurtful or in reaction to somebody else, people remember. Right. And the way I define leadership is very simple. I look at leaders as people want to follow, not have to follow. Right. Want's a heart thing. Want's not a head thing. You know, so you want is that birthplace for joy and excitement and engagement and passion and trust and loyalty and all those things that make a difference to our organizations. So if we as leaders need to connect to the want of the people we lead in order to get the results that we want to have, right? We can't afford to not clean it up when we've done something that is not consistent with our best self. Yeah,
take ownership of that.
Right. And it goes back to that responsibility. Exactly. Really, it is all about it. Everything I do, all my work is about personal responsibility and impact. And if you're not taking responsibility, then you're not going to get where you are capable of being. Right. You know.
Yeah. So to be happier, to be, you know, kinder and wiser in this world, you have to take responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it all starts with you. Like you were saying earlier, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. What are you doing? How was your impact in that moment? And then if you didn't live up to it, what are you going to do next?
Exactly.
And it's really moment by moment. And like you said, it doesn't have to be this big grandiose thing about, I'm going to change the world, you know, because we can.
Tomorrow I'm going to be a whole different person. No, be you, be your best self powerfully now. And if you didn't, the next situation, right? The next situation, be your best self powerfully now. Right. What is it I need to do to be my best self powerfully now? And here's the thing. That informs everything. That informs how you prepare for entering any situation. You know, what do the people need from you to experience you as someone who is genuine, who's worthy of trust, reliable, and believable? What's the impact you want to have? Yeah. Think about that before you enter the situation. It will change the way you show up. It will change your mindfulness. It will change the way you react in the situation. If most of us in life, we show up in the situations in our life reacting to the world around us, and we wonder why our results are what they are, right?
Yeah.
You know, and people say, well, Kimberly, you don't understand. I'm so busy and I've got, you know, yes, I understand how very busy and important you are. But the truth is that it's not your busyness that's getting in the way. It's your mindfulness, and mindfulness takes a minute, 2 minutes. You know, you can ask yourself, okay, you're standing in the line at Starbucks, you're getting ready to go into a stressful meeting, right? You can ask yourself, what does this person need from me to experience me as authentic? What's the impact I want to have, right? Yep. Okay, that's it. It's not, this is not going to take hours and hours and hours of your time. Right. It takes moments of mindfulness. Because and I think that's what kindness is too, right? It's moments of mindfulness.
Exactly. It's exactly as kindness as it can be in every aspect of your life, whether it's business, whether it's family, relationships, encounters on the street. It's that mindfulness that you just talked about. How can I make this next moment better and kinder for everyone involved? And if I failed in that moment, because again, we're all human, we all fail. What can I do next to make this next moment kinder and gentler for everyone involved? And
oh my gosh, Louisa, I just was thinking, gosh, can you imagine if every person on the planet would just carry that with them?
Yes.
That would transform everything. I mean, and it's really not that big of a shift, right? It's really, I tell people it is not the big things that keep us back, right? It's the little things. It's the little things. So if you can really be mindful of these little, small choices, they will transform your life.
Yes, I agree. I mean, there's 7 billion people in the world, right? So if all 7 billion of us just did that one thing.
Dare to dream. Wow. Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh my gosh, I can't even fathom.
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
It does. I know.
If we just did that one thing, it could totally change the vibrational energy of the world. And I mean, and we can change the world. But again, the world doesn't have to be this big thing. It could be your community. It could be your space. How are you being a positive impact in your space?
Right.
And then what can we do to make it better?
Right. And you know, I think it's funny though. When I was writing my book, I read a lot about my family and my community, as well as leadership business situations. And my publisher was saying, you know, this really is a business book. It needs to be this and this. I said, look, here's the deal. Leaders are people. They're not titles.
Yes.
And it doesn't begin, and you can't compartmentalize yourself, right? So you can't treat your family like crap and then go to work and expect to be this really great boss. It really begins with every aspect of your life. And you can't go into the grocery store and treat the clerk disrespectfully and not be a disrespectful person. Right. So I think if we can look at our lives as more holistic, right, that everything we do, every action we make has an impact on not only, how we show up as a leader, but who we are as a human being. And I think the bigger thing is almost how you feel about yourself.
Yes.
Right. Because when you're being your best and when you're not. And we can't hide from ourselves. Right. And so when we know that we're not bringing our best, we carry that around us. They're like, they rob us of our sense of self-efficacy and our belief in ourselves. And I believe that confidence is knowing that you can count on yourself. Right. And so when we disappoint ourselves, when we disappoint ourselves in the way we show up in the world, that erodes our confidence and erodes our ability to make an impact. It erodes our ability to lead, and it affects everything in our lives.
It does. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And it's, I might cry on that one. I might cry on that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's beautiful. And it's just taking personal account of who you want to be and how you want to show up in every thing that you do, because again, like you said, you can't be a jerk in one instance and then think you're going to be all rosy in the next instance. You got to be
right. Well, and I think the thing is you think you might be punishing that person. Okay. But the truth is you're punishing yourself, because we can't hide from ourselves.
Cannot hide from ourselves.
You know. you know that that is the person that you are, if that's how you're behaving.
Right. And the choice is yours of whether you want to continue leading this way, being who you are, or if you want to make small choices to make it a better situation for everyone involved. But
you can change the very next minute, which is that's the really cool part, right?
And that starts with you. That starts with you and your ownership of, I want to be a better person. And so, and I'm going to do that in this very next moment. It's going to be something small, and I know it's work, but it's a muscle. It's a muscle. Right. Kindness is a muscle. Leadership is a muscle. Bravery is a muscle. You got to keep working it. And if you keep working it and using it, the muscle gets stronger and it gets better and easier to do certain things. But you just got to keep working it out for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that.
Say it.
So if you can leave us, like I said, we could talk all day. But if you could, what are like your top 3 tips to be a braver person in this world?
Okay, so the first one is get clarity on your super objective. What's the impact you want to have, right? So get clarity on your super objective, and then make sure before every situation you face that you're centering yourself and you're thinking about what's the impact I want to have on the people that are in this situation with me, and working your super objective in every situation you face, right? So it's clarity. It's mindfulness. And then I think that the next big thing is make sure that you are surrounding yourself with some people call it tribe, some people call it community, some people call it family. Surround yourself with people that make you better, right? Because it's conversations like this that bring that mindfulness. We're like, well, Kimberly, you could have done that better. And if I'm surrounded with people like you, I'm reminded, it's like you hold up the mirror for me and remind me of the person I want to be, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully I can do that for you too. And we can do that for each other. And I think if we're surrounding ourselves with people that are committed to being their best, most authentic and powerful selves, we will be more successful at stepping into our best, most authentic and powerful self. Right?
Yes. Love it. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
This was so much fun.
I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy following you and seeing everything that you're doing. But
and I feel the same way.
Thank you. These conversations are so important because that's where it starts. That's where connectedness starts. That's where, just opening the doors to new ideas. So I appreciate you sharing your ideas with us and sitting down and having this conversation. And I truly, truly am grateful for you. Oh, Sarah's watching, by the way. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hi, Sarah. We love you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. But I'm truly grateful for you and then all that you're doing in the world. So thank you so much.
I am so grateful too. This was a blast.
Yay!
We need to do this again.
We do, for sure. So thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
Heart to yours. This is Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume. We will see you guys next week. Have a great day.
Bye.